If you're interested in playing drum solos, or maybe you're currently working on your drum solo ability, either way, you're going to find this one interesting. Now, it is my personal opinion that every single drummer should work on their soloing skills. Whether you ever decide to play a drum solo in front of an audience or not, that's not the point. Working on your soloing skills is one of those things that's like taking your car to the track on the weekends. You know what I mean? Soloing maxes out all of your abilities at the same time. So it's always a good idea to work on soloing on a regular basis to build up your musicality and everything else that comes along with playing music. Now today I'm going to give you a really helpful tip that can kind of accelerate your drum soloing skills, and it's not what you think. It's not going to be anything too fancy on here. It has everything to do with this. So let me show you exactly what that is. Now, a lot of times when we're sitting on the drums and we're working on our soloing, there's a lot of things that we're trying to develop at the same time, right? We're focusing on things like, dynamics. We're working on our timing. We're working on control. We're trying to work on, just our facility around the drums. There's a lot of stuff that we're trying to work on at the same time. I think in the process, one important thing gets lost, and that's music. The fact of the matter is, there's a lot of distractions when you're working on your soloing right now. There's a lot of things that are trying to grab your attention at the same time, right? Hand and foot coordination, and you're trying to work this lick out, and you're doing things over and over again. And, ultimately, these things become distractions from the most important aspect, and that's making music. Now, when you're playing any kind of drum solo, the last thing you want it to sound like is just a bunch of copy and paste drum licks from start to finish. And a lot of times when you're working on these licks, repetitive licks and stuff, that's what your solo consists of. It's just a bunch of exercises that you're kind of cramming together and hoping that it sounds good. Now, if you've already got a good bit of experience on the drums, you got a decent vocabulary, and you want to start working on your soloing, I'm going to urge you to try this. Get off the drums and pull out your practice pad. Now let me ask you a question. I know a lot of you out there watching right now, you have successfully developed a practice pad addiction, but let me ask you this. I know you practice on your practice pad a lot, but how many out there watching right now play their practice pad? Now, the coolest thing about your practice pad is that it doesn't make any noise, right? It doesn't have any tones, doesn't have any pitches, anything like that. It's just a slab of rubber on a slab of wood. That's all it is. But that is actually a major advantage when it comes to learning how to actually solo and make music, because you really have to tap in to all of your resources and your full vocabulary to make any kind of music on something that doesn't make any noise. So you're basically going to take everything that you know up to this point, and you're going to try to make this sound good. playing your practice pad like this has tremendous benefits when you finally go to sit on the drums, because you're starting from in here. We got to remember, like whenever we're sitting around the drums, the music comes from in here. It doesn't come from those. That's just a color palette. That's just kind of adding a little bit of flavor to what's coming out of your hands, right? If you spend too much time just trying to work out chops and cool fancy licks and stuff, like I was saying before, your solos end up sounding like that. They just sound like a bunch of copy and paste, you know, cool little phrases and things that you worked on in your practice room for the last 5 months or whatever. But playing your practice pad forces music out of you. There's a lot of stuff that you have to rely on to get this to feel good and to even get into it yourself. Like I could have kept going for a good hour. Like I have a lot of fun doing this kind of thing. Another benefit of doing this is that, you know, if you run into a roadblock or anything like that on the drums, like if you've sort of hit a musical plateau, maybe it's because you're too distracted. Maybe you're just trying to focus on too many of the physical aspects of playing the drums and you're completely ignoring all the emotional stuff. It's the emotional stuff that ultimately makes everything feel good. So, how does this affect your soloing on the drums? Like doing this on a regular basis, what's the benefit of doing that? Well, the biggest benefit is your approach to soloing in the first place. A lot of times what will happen is when you don't have this in front of you, your snare drum almost becomes like your practice pad, right? You're going to start playing your snare, start approaching your snare the same ways you do as your practice pad. You might not even touch anything else on the onset. Once you get into the flow of making music just on the snare, and then you start adding other voices that you have in the kit, toms, incorporating the kit, hitting cymbals, you know, your hi-hat, whatever. Once you start adding all of those elements to the music that you're already making on the snare, then it changes the game completely. The biggest difference, like I was saying before, is that the music now is coming out of your hands and not so much out of the drums. And that's what you want. A lot of times, like when you hear drummers at the beginning of their solos, they play with the snares off. That to me is one of the coolest ways to start a solo. And once you start practicing with or playing your practice pad that way, you might end up doing the same thing. Like you can really start to enjoy a lot of the sounds that comes out of this instrument. And you might just want to sit on it for a little bit and just enjoy what you're hearing. So I just want to encourage everyone watching right now to give it a shot. All right? Pull out your practice pad. And instead of just doing your regular exercises on it, just pick up the sticks and play your pad. Like, just try to make music on your pad. Tap out your vocabulary wherever it's at. Tap out your technique, your control, your dynamics, all of that. You're going to need all of that stuff to make this sound good. This is a really fantastic mental exercise for building up your musicality, your solo skills, all that kind of stuff. Another thing that I want to encourage you to do is try different tempos. You can do this with any tempo that you want, right? You can pretty much solo to anything. So try that, man. Just, pick a number between 1 and 200, throw on your metronome, and then just start playing your pad. So if you're working on your soloing right now, you kind of hit a roadblock, give this a shot, man. I guarantee you this is going to have a tremendous effect on your soloing. Remember, you're not a drummer. You're a musician that plays the drums. So that's it. Free tip for you. Take it. Do what you want with it. New viewers, new subscribers, welcome to the channel. This is the kind of stuff that you find around here. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. That right there is a subscribe button. Make sure you hit that before you bounce. If you're digging this t-shirt, you can snatch one up for yourself. This is part of the merch stuff that's in my merch shop. Link will be in the description box. Just click on that, take you right over there. You can snatch you up one of these. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment below. Share this video if you dig it. Like, subscribe. See you next video.